Alright, the second column activity that you're going to do is the one called the look of a victim. What I'm asking you to do is read through the article first and to come up with a picture that you think would best describe that article, and that's what you're going to place at the top of the columns. So the first thing we're going to do here is set up your 3 columns. So I'll go up to page layout and we will click on columns. Now we're not going to do anything special to our columns here, and they're all going to be the same width, so we're going to just go and click on 3. Now that we have our 3 set up, the way I would do it is I'm going to click and insert my picture first. So if you go under the Insert tab and you go ahead and click on Picture. Alright, so I went ahead and I went under Insert and I clicked on my picture that I had downloaded. Now, something you're going to need to remember when you're working with the pictures here is that there's already set up. If I went under the Format tab, well, I have it selected under this Wrap Text. You are going to want to leave it at that. If you wanted to move it to different places, then you would select some of these other ones. But to have this work perfectly, you want it set up like this. And you can also use the position as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch out this picture. Right, and you may need to crop it a little bit. Now notice what happens here is that part of my picture is cut off. And so that happens when you have picked multiple columns to go across. Now if I would have did it the opposite, when you put the pictures in and then go to columns, the same thing would have happened. So I make sure I clicked on my picture. I'm going to go back up to page layout. I'm going to click on columns. And I'm going to click on 1. Now notice, as you can see, I'm back to 1 column for my picture, but now if I scroll down and I click below it, now I'm back to 3. And so that's an important thing to kind of remember. So now what you're going to have to do is going to have to insert the word art where it says the look of a victim, a line below it, and then all the text. And so to get this started, and you may have to manipulate the picture a little bit later on depending on where it fits, your words are not going to line up perfectly. Let me stress that. Your words are not going to line up perfectly like the end of the lines on the paper. Your goal is to get all of the text into one page. That's your only goal for this, is to get all the text into one page and make sure you cover everything else. Right, so I'm going to start here with my word art. I'll go up here, again, click any of them that you want. And let's do the look victim, and again I'm going to spread this all the way, and again it doesn't go too far, so I may need to bring down the size a little bit. Alright, now you can insert a line below that, or we can kind of worry about that at the end. So if I wanted to return down again, I may have to move this back up. Now one interesting thing to note here is you see that large L, it's called a drop cap. So if I started typing this out, I'm just going to type a little bit here. And so on. Once I have a bunch of it typed out, notice the L goes down 3 lines. I'm going to go ahead and select the L only. I'm going to go under Insert, and I'm going to go to this feature called Drop Cap. Now if I click on that and I hover over above it here, I have the drop, or if I did the margin, which would not apply here. Now there's some options here, but we're just going to go pretty basic here and just click on dropped. Now you can make this as big as you want, and it looks pretty tight on the paper, so we're going to bring it down a little bit. We can stretch it out, but again it doesn't work maybe too perfectly with us, so you might just have to improvise just a little bit. And so that's how you're going to work with the drop cap. Now once you start typing this all out and goes up to the next paragraph, it's going to go right up to the top here. So that could be a little bit of a problem for you if you're working with this word art in here as well. Now if I were to click on this word art, you do have some options here about wrapping text, and so if you were to make it tight, you can go ahead and bring this back up. And again, it gets a little bit trickier every time you work with this. And so if I was going to go down here, I should be able to get it up right close to the top again, and then you continue to type. And so it does make it a little bit more difficult to work with, but again, the goal of this one is to work with putting a picture in, working with a drop cap feature, and to get all the text on one page. So you may have text that is 10.5, but again, make sure it's readable in at least the 100% view. And that should finish up your column activities. And you only have to do 2 of them, or you're probably going to have to email me 2 different document folders.